This is UberX.
Look at the customer in the back. Look at the customer in the back. Look at the customer in the back.
Yeah, there's a computer on the phone. He got no insurance. He got no insurance, I'm telling you. It doesn't matter. That's my I won't let anybody touch him.
UberX is illegal.
I just need fairness.
Just a sample of what it was like out there today. City Hall reporter Jamie Strachan has been in the middle of these protests all day.
This is UberX.
The simmering dispute between the taxi industry and Uber exploded today. This cabbie actually trying to physically stop an Uber cab from driving. The video quickly made the rounds in the council chamber.
I recognize that people have elevated feelings about this and are passionate, but that's absolutely not the approach.
No, that kind of activity is obviously not at all acceptable. That person was putting themselves and others at risk.
All morning, angry cabbies clogged the downtown core, eventually making their way to City Hall, right beneath the mayor's office.
Shame on you! Shame on you! John Tory said that September 30th, UberX is out of the law. They are operating out of the law, but they're not forcing it. So we have no choice.
Clearly the cabbies out here feel this is a file very much out of control, directing their ire firmly at one man, Mayor John Tory. Tory, who sat above in his office, was unmoved.
This is not an acceptable way to go about voicing concerns. It is not going to speed up the process that is going on here at City Hall.
Today's protest comes months after council ordered Uber to become a licensed cab company. The companies refused. The city's issued about 200 tickets, a drop in the bucket, with thousands of users and drivers.
There is no excuse for putting the safety of the public at risk, for blocking ambulances and first responders.
Drivers want the city to go back to court to legally prevent Uber from operating.
We have not received any advice from our lawyers to the effect that seeking an injunction at this time would be advisable for the city.
Tory is urging patience and an end to the chaos seen today on city streets. This may be wishful thinking at this point.
Jamie Strachan now joins us live from Queen Anne Bay. And Jamie, they may be mad at UberX, but they are furious with the mayor. What is City Hall prepared to do? What's next?
Well, Dwight, in a nutshell, it appears that City Hall is willing to let the status quo persist for the time being. You heard Mayor John Tory. The city has no intention of heading back to court to get the injunction that those in the cab industry so desperately want. Mayor Tory has said really since he came into office, this is something that the public has spoken very clearly on. Thousands of users, thousands of drivers. You have that existing over here, and you have a taxi industry over here that says it cannot continue to make a living. The mayor urging patience until the city can come back with some new regulations in a few months. But after we saw today, you wonder if the cab industry is willing to wait. You also wonder how long authorities are going to be willing to let protests like the one behind me that's paralyzed the downtown core to persist. Dwight, back to you on the desk.
Definitely upsetting their customers today. Thank you for that, Jamie.
Now, that shot you've been seeing of the cab driver hanging on to the Uber car for dear life, well, CBC Toronto has learned he was once an Uber driver himself. Michelle Chung tracked him down to find out what he was trying to accomplish.
It was an eventful ride for one Uber passenger. Even more heart-stopping for the man who ended up hanging on to the car.
There was a couple of scratches on the floor. I fall down. Yeah, I know. My kids calling me. It says I saw it on the news.
Dad, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to protect my livelihood, you know.
Sundaresan Kanagasabi says he just wanted to talk to the Uber driver when he took off.
I thought this gentleman is going to stop. I didn't expect he's going to drag one.
Kanagasabi says he's been driving a taxi for 25 years. In fact, he was one of the first limo drivers to sign up with Uber Black 2 years ago because some of his clients were jumping to Uber. But he will no longer work for the company.
They don't follow the law. That's why I'm taking. I can't take this anymore.
But his anger is saved for what he calls the ineffectiveness of the city and the police when it comes to dealing with Uber.
The bylaw enforcement officers at City Hall, they're not doing the job. This is a problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on the road.
Until the laws are changed that give us an opportunity to properly enforce, we're handcuffed.
Toronto's police chief says there's little police can do to successfully prosecute large numbers of Uber drivers.
It involves voluminous amounts of work in order to prove a single transaction. And those efforts are tremendously complicated and very difficult to properly prove.
As for unruly taxi drivers, the chief has this warning.
I'm strongly suggesting that the taxi industry change their playbook. If they're looking for negative attention, that's what's happening right now.
Kanagasabi says he's still not quite sure why he hung on to that car, but he's promised he won't do that again. Michelle Chung, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, let's take you back live to Bay and Queen. Cabbies still have that intersection blocked off. They're vowing to stay there until they've made their point. We'll take you back live throughout the rest of the hour.